All right, gents, let's talk about people pleasing. Let's talk about people pleasing once and for all. In this video, I'm going to go through some of the distinct ways people pleasing shows up, all right? And this is going to be crucial for you to get an idea of how your impulsive behavior is sabotaging you. Then we're going to talk about a little bit about the underlying reasons why this is playing out, okay? And then most importantly, at the end, I'm going to talk about some strategies that you really need to hone in on so that you can overcome this people pleasing and start doing yourself better. As always, if you're new to the channel, please do hit subscribe, check out the other videos, talk a lot about people pleasing things, stuff that affects nice guys, particularly in relationships. And if you want, check out in the description below. I've got some ebooks there. One, Road to Recovery. This is all about how to overcome the nice guys. It's got some strategies in there. Give it a look. Let me know what you think in the comments. All right, so people pleasing, how does this show up? Well, firstly, it's showing up as not being able to assert what you want, and that's not being direct about it. It also shows up as you not asking clearly for what you want, all right, but rather in this kind of backhanded, wishy-washy sort of way. Lastly, it's also not actually knowing what you want. All right, because your impulse is to always be pulled towards what another person wants so that you might be liked, all right, so that you might be seen in a good light. I've talked about this before in other ones of my videos, but you need to see that you're over-indexing towards getting validation, being liked, is going to blind you from what you really authentically want, okay? Because again, your knee-jerk reaction is to suddenly think about, oh, how can I make this person feel better? Okay, how can we appease this other person at the expense of, well, who even cares what I want? I don't know what I want. What's most important is that that person likes me. All right, do you start to see how pernicious this is, all right, how this is really sabotaging your success? All right, and the other way that people pleasing is showing up is expecting people are going to meet your needs without actually stating them clearly. Again, this comes from this fear of making the other person uncomfortable. All right, so you don't want to confront them because in your eyes, that's going to make them feel bad, and then they are going to view you badly, and that's going to trigger all of your toxic shame. So you are not being direct or clear, stating what you want. And here's the really tricky part, is that you actually expect that they are just going to meet all your needs, or they're going to satisfy your desires simply because you are being nice, all right? You're leaning towards them, all right? You're prioritizing what they want, etc. This is what Robert Glover calls a covert contract, all right? You are sort of being really deceitful in a way. It's manipulative. It's like this underwritten expectation that so long as I am behaving like a good boy, all right, I will get my needs met. People are going to do what I want. But I'm sorry, that's not how the world works, all right? And I'm sure if you're listening to this video, if this is resonating, you will be able to look back and see distinct moments where this was the case and where you shot yourself in the foot. So big part of your healing journey, you overcoming this nice guy, people-pleasing patterns, is going to be expressing your needs and desires clearly, directly. You don't have to be a dick about it. You don't have to be obnoxious about it, but you need to see that your pattern is expecting people are going to meet you where you want to be met without communicating it. So moving on, how to overcome this, all right? Well, the first is you need to slow down, okay? And a big part of slowing down is to think, to reflect. What is it you actually want, all right? You need to understand that for you to be successful, you need to be on track. So you want a life plan, have a vision, and you always want to check in with yourself. Is this in alignment with my highest goals, my highest values? Is it in fact a distraction, what I'm doing or what I'm seeking? Also, you want to ask yourself, in what ways am I not being clear about what I want? All right. Everything I've just spoken about, this is such an important question to be asking yourself when you are going to communicate with someone. All right, whether it's relationship, your career, your family, your social circles, whatever it is, ask yourself, How am I not being clear about what I want right now? Another question you can ask yourself is, how can I ask this in a more direct way? So again, ask yourself, how might you be asking for what you want in a backhanded, wishy-washy sort of way? Another question, how have I prioritized this person's needs, comfort, and wants over my own? So on this last part, you need to start practicing being with tension, all right? So that you don't buckle at the thought of making the other person uncomfortable. Oftentimes you won't. It's just a fear stemming from your internalized shame and your own projected inability to stand with confrontation, okay, which you're projecting onto the other person and assuming that they're not going to be able to handle it. All right, this is a very important shadow that nice guys will project. All right, they assume that the rest of the world can't deal with confrontation or directness. Okay, so in assuming that, they then hold back in being more direct. Right, shadow work's a big thing. I'm going to make some more videos of that on the future. Big part of getting over the nice guy syndrome is confronting your own darkness, your own shadows, all of these traits which you have repressed because you've deemed them bad. All right, but which you actually need to come forward in life. Things like being more assertive, being more direct. Anyway, getting back to this notion of being okay with tension. All right, this is being okay with the fact there might be a possibility that this person doesn't like what you're bringing to the table, okay? What you're confronting them with, what you are being direct with. People pleasing is very impulsive. It's an autopilot, okay? It's a safety mechanism, a sort of survival strategy that once protected you, okay, but no longer serves its purpose and in fact is still holding you back. So you need to address this maladaptive survival strategy and see how it emerged, see it for what it was, and that now it is pernicious and is holding you back. You need to build this awareness around the ways you do it. Okay, the ways that you appease others, that you don't assert yourself. And you need to become more embodied, all right, so that you can track the felt sense of when that anxiety comes up in your body and also build more capacity in the nervous system so that you can be present with that charge, with that sensation, without buckling and falling into your impulsive people-pleasing patterns. This awareness and this embodiment creates space between the stimulus, all right, and your response, okay? And when you become more resilient, when you become more embodied, when you become better at being present with the felt sense, that charge, that kind of anxious charge, and that comes through literally training your nervous system to hold more arousal charge. Once you do all of this stuff, you create more space and then you have more choice in how you decide to respond, okay? So all those questions which I talked about a moment earlier, you will have a bit more space to reflect, okay? And this can happen really, really quickly, all right? And perhaps if it's communication happening over text or email, you even have a little bit more time. But simple things like take a couple more breaths, all right? Feel grounded, feel your feet grounded on the floor, all right? Just become more in tune to your body before you make impulsive decisions, which will be geared towards pleasing that other person at your own detriment. So to recap, you want to start getting comfortable with the experience of confrontation, of maybe asserting something which isn't the ideal desire of that other person. You also need to reframe what you think confrontation is, all right? Don't need to see it as animosity, but rather a way towards better, healthier relationships, okay? Conflict is an inherent part of relationships, okay? No two people will see eye to eye or agree on absolutely everything 100% of the time. Nevertheless, we want to foster good relationships, all right? Particularly romantic relationships, particularly business relationships. It's just like negotiation, all right? You need to see that, hey, actually me coming forward is to the benefit of this relationship. It is of better service to the relationship to be direct and frank about how I'm feeling, what I want, what I expect, rather than biting my tongue and letting that fester as resentment and then get played out in passive aggressive behavior. Okay, and this capacity to come forward in a relationship with your needs and desires, to confront the other person, to negotiate, however you want to see it, comes down to the last thing I'll talk about, and that is the belief that your needs matter. Okay, that you are worthy of having your desires met. This is fundamental for overcoming people pleasing. Okay, it's probably, maybe the starting block, right? To understand that, hey, you are worthy of having your needs met. Now, if you checked out my other videos on the roots of people pleasing, the roots of the nice guy syndrome, you will know that the underlying core wound, the thing driving this, is your internalized shame, that I inherently, as I am, as a person, am wrong. I am bad, okay? I am unlovable. And this is where it all stems from, okay? The belief that, hey, my needs, they don't matter. All right, guys, I hope this has been clear. I hope you now see with clearer light what is driving your people pleasing and these very simple but crucial strategies for overcoming this impulsive behavior. Slow down, reflect, and understand your needs matter. Once again, if you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe. Check out the ebooks in the description below. I'm posting videos each week covering relationships, men's work, overcoming the nice guy syndrome. All right, thank you very much.